Meeting order. Hopefully some people will continue to come in. I didn't receive any requests for public comments.
No, you didn't.
Okay. Minutes of the January 22nd, 2009 meeting were mailed to you. They're also here if you didn't bring your copy.
I move to accept these minutes.
Chair has a motion to approve. Does it have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Mel Blanchett to approve the minutes as prepared by Mr. Lemmy and Mr. Skimmer wanted to mail to the committee.
Wait a minute.
Is this Mr. Lemmy?
Yes, don't give Dell any credit for that.
I give him Dell all the credit. He didn't object to anything. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All for the same side. We take roll call as these meetings, oh, Mr.
No.
Let's take roll call since we're getting going to do this legally.
Okay. Mr. Howell.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Blanchett, the elder.
Yes, here.
Ms. Cowie. Here. Mr. Washington. Mr. Jarvis. Mr. Broberg.
Yeah.
Mr. Bates.
Here.
Mr. Bukowski. Mr. Baston. Mayor Payton.
Here.
Mr. Blanchett, the younger.
Here.
Your
Thank you.
quorum eyes, sir.
Old business. Extended discussion. Leading off was the Greenwells and Trails planned by Delbert and Mr. Bergdahl.
If you
I
should.
think would be me.
Yeah.
I think you guys are all aware that we're updating the county's Greenways and Trails plan. We created a citizens advisory committee to help us, they're working actually under this committee, to help us work out the details of the plan. The committee's met twice. We went over possible trail routes at the last meeting, and that's all shown on this map here. Staff has met with the Village of Bourbonnais, Village of Manteno, and Will County. The map you're looking at, all of the trails in orange are trails that were on the previous 1999 map. Everything in red are either new trails or rerouted trails. The ones with little X's on them are being removed. The green are greenways, and the brown are existing trails. We removed two trails,
Well, use your fancy little pointer.
Yes, please.
the old railroad right-of-way running from Beecher down to Hopkins Park is being removed. It's no longer a viable route.
Could you guys see it if it was leaning up against
Yeah, would
the
you rather I
wall?
put it up, or?
I think we gotta do something. Either we need to move the tables down there, you put it down at the end, or.
How about like this?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
If I go way back there, it'll be too far away, maybe.
There you go.
Okay.
That's
It's an abandoned railroad right-of-way, but it's all been sold back to adjoining property owners. A lot of the roadbeds have been removed. We talked with Will County, they no longer have. They'd like to use it in their county, but they don't see it happening there either. So what we've done with that is we've rerouted it over to the county highway. It'll link up to something in Will County here. Down here, the Pembroke Trail. Instead of going back into the railroad right-of-way, it comes back up to Route 114. We've rerouted the what's called the Eldridge Trail. Instead of on the railroad tracks, it's now using the new.
All these are on county roads.
Not necessarily. Some are on township roads, some are on railroad right-of-ways, some are on private property.
So the object of the trail is that you can walk it or?
Walk it. It's a multi-purpose trail.
Yeah.
Use bike, walk, non-motorized. In some instances, you can actually use horses as well. Our meeting with Will County, we found out that they have two forest preserves going in right at our county line on both sides of Rockville. So we put a greenway to connect the two and brought a trail up to meet those. Another trail we removed, Village of Bourbonnais wanted the Brown Boulevard Trail removed. They don't want any trails going through their business district for some reason, so. We removed that. Yeah, it didn't make sense to me either, but.
Yeah, trails on 4-lane roads,
Well,
40 mile an hour speed limit.
I think they're thinking recreation trails, not necessarily trails that people do bike to stores.
Do you know if that went through any process in the Village of Bourbonnais, or was that just a mayor/administrator position?
It was not in their current plan, all the rest of them were, so.
Okay.
There must have been some process for it.
I noticed driving through Bourbonnais that all of a sudden ComEd is changing their poles in some places. Are any of those being thought of as a alternative place to put trails?
I don't know if they know
Well, along Bethel Road and then going north at the Vassar School, looks to me like ComEd has made some,
that. Okay, well, I'm getting to that.
okay.
The Village of Bourbonnais actually has obtained right-of-way for that ComEd easement from developers going up there by the Vassar School. And they're planning a trail that goes all the way to the lumber yard. The committee's taken that one step farther, and we're actually bringing it back out to First Center Road to come up to the new school site in Mantino, and then wrap it back around into the village.
Yeah, but the greenways are not public access, they're just,
When they're created, they will be.
they will be.
Yeah, this is just a plan. Basically, what we're saying with the greenway is, you know, it's private property, use it as you do now. But if you go to develop this piece of property, we want that strip along the creek preserved as park or open space. So, until it gets developed, nothing really changes. Same thing with the trails. We'd ask if there's a trail running along the road in front of the development, we'd ask for it to be built at the time it gets developed.
How, have we found a way to connect the one that soon began at the water park / ice rink and headed toward the state park? Have we found a reasonable means to move people north of Court Street or across
It's
Court Street?
being worked on. All of the details are not worked out yet. But phase one, that's the riverfront trail. Phase one, it starts down at the aquatic park on River Road and ends at Schuyler Avenue Bridge. Phase two starts at Schuyler Avenue Bridge and actually goes all the way up to, is it the Vassar Park behind the lines here? And connects into the existing trail system at the Perry Farm. That is being studied right now. There is no exact route, but it will pass under the Court Street Bridge. There's a ledge under the bridge that they're going to
That was the
utilize.
last go around with that, is talking about doing you gotta work with the flood issues.
Right.
But some kind of a bridge that'll get across Soldier Creek.
Like a removable bridge, so at flood stages they can lift it up and remove it out.
Okay. And then behind the houses is the Hope?
No.
That's
Out
gonna,
It would run along Kennedy Drive,
that's the
and then go in
biggest.
front of the houses. Like I said, that has not yet been worked out.
Behind it would be nice, but the neighborhood is very resistant.
Well, I understand, but,
People don't
So-
want to give up their riverfront.
well, I understand. So you'd be talking sidewalks along Kennedy?
Yeah, probably a wider sidewalk.
Talking about front porches being taken down. Look at those front yards.
Well, it's also been talked about that we don't do that segment. We just put up a sign that says the trail continues
Work your way through.
down here. That
So
has
right
been
down the middle of the
discussed.
road.
You're on your own.
That one's almost gonna be as tough as the Sportsman's Club.
Yes, it could be a problem, so.
But except the traffic pattern in front of the Sportsman's Club is much more amenable to trail traffic
Sure.
than Kennedy Drive.
Oh, but we're not talking, there's a road that gets you off of Kennedy, that
Right.
takes you through the neighborhood.
Well, once you get,
Yeah. Well,
Off
it's
the
very,
chunk.
very narrow, yeah.
It would be separated from Kennedy Drive.
but you can
They
go
got a
riverfront.
guardrail there, and it
Yeah.
would actually hang off, there's like a concrete embankment there.
Yeah, but you still got 2 or 3 houses before you get to the first road that you can hit.
Those
back.
three are the issue, and I think the idea behind just skipping that section is get the rest of it done, people start using the trail, it might be a little more palatable
Tough one.
to
Yes,
get that right of way after the fact.
It sounds like the
and put
bridge
that
to
section.
nowhere in Otto Township, doesn't need that.
But you could still get through, they do wanna put a sidewalk, which you can at least get through the area, so.
I think
All,
they said they had 6
all these
feet
would
of
be,
available space there, not
Yeah.
10.
Right. It's not enough to put in a full trail. without the
so these would be all concrete or blacktop,
Could be either.
either way.
Some could even be crushed stone.
What's the next stage for you guys?
We have another meeting, March 26th. We hold all those at the Community Foundation, which is a couple doors down from the county building. We hold them at noon. You're all welcome to attend. RSVP, either me or Norm Strasma, so we serve lunch. The next stage is to prioritize all of these trails. We're gonna put them into a list obviously you can't build all of these at once, and some of them don't even make sense.
You supposed to come up with cost estimates for building too?
We did in the last plan, but probably not going to. It really served very little purpose. They were out of date a month after we did them, and
What's frightening, because this phase one is less than 3 miles, and it's between 500 and 600 miles.
And didn't have to do any land acquisition.
Right.
And we're not, yeah, there again, too, we're not analyzing this to the point of knowing how much land might need to be taken or other amenities or anything like that. And the hope is that actually there is no land acquisition, that we get most of it at the time of development as a donation from the developer.
That's still acquisition.
It is, but we don't have to pay for it, so.
Is there any stimulus money that's available for this?
Well, none of these are shovel ready, so that eliminates that.
Where's the proposal at the state line where the bridge is condemned?
We are still showing that as a trail.
I see that.
Your guess is as good as mine. We have not talked to county highway yet. It's on our list of things to do.
I mean, I certainly, it would be nice to have another means of crossing the river on the east side of the county. So, it would be nice if you had vehicle traffic to be able to do that also. so.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I just think that's one that, if you're not finding a way to put a new bridge up across the river, it's pretty pointless to have that on your map.
So after that, it
The
goes-
Riverfront Trail is slated to start construction this spring, or summer, excuse me.
What about where the trails cross township or county roads? Will it be, you know, a yellow sign with a flashing light to
We're
have
not
it up
that far into it. This is just planning and engineering, so each one of these would have to be engineered, and that would, all that would be determined. In fact, like I said, these routes are basic routes. We want them in that general area. They could switch sides of the road. They could even be moved over. In fact, the Waldron Road Trail, we're showing it on the railroad, but we're also indicating that it could go up Waldron Road. Each one of these will be.
Over at that orange line on the east end, you said toward the east side of the county. County road, which road you're talking?
County Highway 13.
Which is about,
It runs by the old abandoned quarry.
Where are you talking about?
This one?
That looks like a red line.
So that's red line. Yeah, it shows the color is the red line.
It's Mini Maness Road, is that?
Yes.
Okay. And then Blue Road,
Another one to note, there's a push to create a Route 66 bike trail from Chicago to St. Louis, so we've branched off to Amazonia State Fish and Wildlife area to reach Route 66 trail over in Tennessee Garden. Okay.
It's 10 years, 20 years out, 30 years.
For the whole plan, probably 100 years.
You're
But-
not far off.
What we're seeing is you're getting bits and pieces. Some of the success stories, Bradley, it's kind of hard to see here, but when this property developed at the corner of Cardinal and, was it Larry Power? Yeah, Larry Power, they had the developer put in a segment of trail in front of his. Got another one down here along Soldier Creek, north of North Street. So as the other ones develop, they'll add their piece onto it. Eventually, we'll have a trail. And that's how we expect it to work. So there will be gaps, there'll be.
Sure. It's no different from when we did this in
99.
99. That helped to make this phase one.
Right. Without the plan,
You can't
you
get the
can't get the
funding.
money and the
Yeah,
funding.
yeah.
But it's been 10 years and we've only had a few success stories out of
Right.
that.
It's tough.
So it takes time.
when money is good, it takes time.
Yeah.
Even when money's good, so. That, was it, you said it was $500,000 for that trail?
It's, yeah.
That's 2 miles long?
2 to 3 miles, yeah.
Well, and it's over,
Most
at
of
least a
it's-
portion of it was on existing trail that was just being improved, right? I mean, it's not.
Yes, that's right.
An existing parkland
It's-
or government
It's
property,
virtually there.
so.
It's amazing how much this costs. The engineering fees.
Imagine if you had to acquire it right away.
Well, but I think part of it is getting the pavement into the spots. You know, most of them are not going to be truck ready. There's going to be a lot of.
Yeah, although that was an existing trail, it was only like 4 feet wide,
Right.
crushed stone, and it was up to virtually no standards whatsoever. So
Sure.
they're really starting out.
Beats the heck out of having to clean out
Yeah.
old trees and
Well, they had to do some of that on the Shapiro property.
to cross Star Creek.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there's a few bridges involved too. So.
Is the trail being improved from where it the new one crosses Gar Creek, up Gar Creek, the park districts, the fourth district, I'm not sure, the trail back up to the Gar Creek Prairie. You know, now there's a path that wraps around.
Right.
No, that's not part of that project.
Okay,
Not the
so
Gar-
that's
that
gonna
would
stay
It's
the
all
fourth.
That would be
kind
this
of
little
east
strip
west,
back here.
Right, that's gonna
That'll
stay.
stay as it is. The actual trail, it doesn't even go all the way to the aquatic park. It's my understanding that the road coming into River Road Park would serve as the trail in that location. It actually started in the parking area
Yeah.
and worked its way through. And when you get past Aqua Illinois' property, it beyond road leaves from there to Stagger River.
Cool. Any other questions for Mr. Skimmerhorn?
I think they're gonna go to bid in June, July.
And that's a city Kankakee project, right?
No, it's actually construction in June or July.
Well, Dave just said the letting yesterday was June, they can't even
Oh,
let it out to
back
bid
that
till
far?
June.
June letting,
Yeah,
probably August.
August start,
groundbreaking.
yeah, because the state has pushing them back.
That's part of the Burnham Plan Centennial that's being celebrated in Chicago this summer. So there's gonna be a big ground breaking sometime, probably August, on that part of the trail. where the
But
southern
it's
end.
amazing that this stuff was ready to go late last summer, and it takes a year to get through the state. It's amazing.
Might have gotten cheaper if we used blacktop instead of concrete.
Well, I think it is backed up.
Well, then the price, I
Yeah,
would guess it would come
yeah,
down.
yeah, it's a good thing we didn't bid it last year, yeah.
Okay, American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, Mr. Lammy stimulus plan for Kankakee County.
To Jeff and to Craig and to Ms. Marco, I apologize for doing the same speech twice, but you get pictures this time, so congratulations to you. A couple things about the economic stimulus package that you need to know about. There are a couple projects in the county that I'm not responsible for, so I'll give you some highlights on those, and you can find out from other people what's going on. Manteno got between $200,000 and $300,000. I don't know what they're spending it for. If you want to find out what's going on, you need to talk to the village of Manteno. The other one is the county highway department got somewhere around $500,000, and I don't know what they've got planned for it or the exact dollar amount. The rest of these, I hopefully know the exact dollar amount, or I'm in trouble. There are two general categories, transit and highway. And on transit, we've got rural transit and urban transit. And for rural transit, there's a pot of dollars at the state for $21 million. Kankakee County has made requests for $275,000, $300,000 for 2 replacement buses, 2 expansion buses, and some replacement radios. We'll find out soon, I suppose, what part of that $21 million we get. For urban transit, the local amount that was allocated is $1,263,000. Metro's made some requests. One is parking lot lighting and security. Another one is Fuel Island. They don't fuel their buses here, they fuel them with the city of Kankakee, so they want to move fueling to here. Third one is HVAC, a new roof for this building, which apparently is in some difficulty, and an emergency generator. Their total request is $1,600,000. They've got to match that with about $300,000 plus of their own money to be able to get that $1,263,000 out of. Anybody got any questions about transit?
Well, I got a question about the submissions.
Go ahead.
So Metro owns this building,
Yes.
and this building is how old?
Don't have a clue. The roof has failed, is that your question?
Well, I'm concerned that building that I think is less than 5 years old.
Oh, it's older than that.
Oh, it's older.
It's way older.
So they bought it from somebody.
Yes.
It's about 15, I think,
Yeah.
15 years.
At least, yeah.
Let's just make sure they get proper permits this time for construction.
Okay.
You know, they ought to go through the same process every other governmental body does to get the permit
Could
to
be.
do construction work.
I can't argue with that. Highways, there's local and there's state. George, I apologize, you've already heard this.
Yes, I did.
It was so exciting the first time you came back for something. For the urban area, this is where it gets a little complicated. Local highway for the village of Ormo Park, village of Bourbonnais, village of Bradley, the city of Kankakee, and some of Kankakee County, we have an allocation of $2,111,598. I remembered that without notes this morning. I'm proud of myself. We have one project that is close to shovel ready. You're gonna hear shovel ready more times than you wanna hear it over the next few months. Burns Road is close. It's not quite there, but it's close. From Career Center Road to US 45. The current estimate for the project is $4 million. That's for a mile of urban highway on green grass. That's a pretty expensive project. Bourbonnais, as of right now, as of this moment we're talking, does not have the extra money to fund the rest of the project, nor do they have the final piece of right-of-way for the project, which is supposedly going to be resolved tonight. We'll see. If they can't come up with $1.9 million, we have a problem. We're gonna talk about that problem next Tuesday on St. Patrick's Day. That's a good time to solve some problems, isn't it?
I agree.
I thought you'd appreciate it. We've got some options. Let me try to give you.
Problems with that.
Yeah, let me try to give you the options we've got. We have to find another MPO like ourselves that's got money from the RRA pot that they're not gonna use. And trade them. I think that's unlikely, quite frankly. And trade future federal funding that we get for their current ARRA funding. Do I think that's likely? Probably not. It has happened in the past, but this is one of those where you've got a lot of politicians who want to show something that they got for what they lobbied for, so we'll see. Second option, find a project locally that we don't have engineering done for right now in that range, and speed the engineering process up and speed the IDOT approval process up, which I think is almost totally unlikely. They don't move faster than they want to move. In order to meet the timetable of the project, which is to be under contract by March of 2010.
Wait for option 3.
Option 3, share the funding on a population basis and do simple resurfacing projects. They take less time to engineer. They take less time to obtain IDOT approval, although doing a federal aid resurfacing project is much more complicated than doing a resurfacing project with your own money. The only problem with this is that really doesn't address what the act was supposed to accomplish. Okay, you got us. This is use it or lose it funds. So if we come down to the fact we can't find a place for it, this is likely to be what we end up doing. I'm not happy with that, but that's likely to be it. Go ahead.
Well, the last one, I mean, if you're building a new road, you're hiring people, and you put the road down. If you're resurfacing it, you're hiring the people and you're putting the surface down. I don't understand why this is any less job stimulating than the other one.
Well, the bill says, I'll try to explain it as we
It's
go
less
along.
long-term.
Something that he would have done anyway.
It's supposed to be improving infrastructure. This is not really improving infrastructure, it's just replacing what you got there.
That's an improvement.
Well, I think the bill mentions adding capacity, and resurfacing doesn't add capacity. So,
Sure it will. If you can drive 5 cars faster than you can drive 4 cars, you can
$2
improve
million
capacity.
is a drop in the bucket.
Just raise the speed limits on the roads and you can improve capacity. Anyway.
Option 4
Nice job.
is the least palatable of any option. That is that if we decide we really don't have a project that's shovel ready, we can trade the $2,111,598 to another MPO so they can build a shovel ready project and they can give us federal funding into the future to make up for that $2,111,000. Well, it could happen, but it's not real politically exciting to say we give all our money away and we're gonna get it back 10 years from now.
Somebody might look at it and say, well, you gave it away last time, what's to say you're not gonna give it away this time? So
I
should
don't,
give it to you.
it's not pleasant to me to go to Lisa Dugan and says, this is the option we're picking, because she's lobbied for the bill, and I understand. Those are the 4 options we've come up with.
Mike, does, 9,000, County 9?
Not in the,
Is not in the
MPO.
MPO? Doesn't count.
No, and it's way more money than we're talking about too, so that causes other problems.
I thought that was under, well, like 2.5 or 3.
No, it's 200.
4.5? 4.5?
Wasn't County Highway 9 4.5 billion?
It was 4.
Between 4 and 5.
Yeah, it is
so
4 also.
But that's the
That's
whole
4.5.
stretch of it. That's not,
Just, well, from 45 to 50.
yeah, but it's outside the MPO area, so
It's
it's not
outside
an
the
issue.
MPO. And
Part of
that's-
the deal
that's-
with federal-
That's shovel ready because the documents were done
That's
last year.
true, it's exactly shovel ready. And if Jim had $5 million instead of $500,000, we'd be in business for that project. Yeah, we'd be in business.
Exactly.
We're
So
not.
that's not MPO yet.
Now, let me
What does it
tell
take to
you
get
that,
that in the MPO?
not until the 2010 census, so unfortunately our timing stinks. So, everything's perfect. If we had known we had $2 million coming, we would have engineered a $2 million project 3 or 4 years ago. But unfortunately, Burns Road, when it was first proposed, was a $2 million project, and now it's 4.
Will Burns Road be a county road then, when it's constructed?
No, it'll
Or
be
just a
village.
local village?
It'll
It's
be
just a
village.
village.
Does the money have to be, if you trade off, does it have to be dollar for dollar I mean,
No, it's even more complicated than that, because the ARRA money, I can't say that, ARRA money is 100%, and our typical federal funding is 80%. So there's some magic formula that we haven't been told yet that we trade.
I mean, it's like you can't say, we're gonna trade you $2 million for, you know, 3 million, 3 years from now, so we can do a bigger project that we wouldn't normally been able to do, because some other, MPO somewhere has more money at that time.
If you're trading, our typical money is called SDPU. There's no way to say, that's a bad acronym, I'm sorry. If we trade there, it's 1 for 1, and it's, the state arranges the trades. The state has already told us they're not gonna arrange the trades in these things. They put their hands up and say, we're not gonna get in the middle of this because it's way too complicated. Because there's 500 communities in the state that get money out of this deal, and not everybody's gonna be able to spend the $111,000 they got on a project that makes sense. So then what happens?
Yeah.
It really gets complicated.
You'd also hedge, and I don't know if SDP funds are the same as, MFT funds, but you can't hedge them against, you can't go to the, IDOT and say, we wanna hedge our future SDP funds for the sake of doing this project now, and allocate the future ones to go back to pay that back.
If they have money in the pot to do that. Right now they don't. Right now the state's broke.
Everything's
Yeah.
capped out.
If we, yeah. Timing stinks.
But can we build half of Burns Road?
Nope, it has to have a logical ending on both sides.
And looking at the future, you're not certain you're gonna get this future funding. There's a promise of it, but you don't know how Congress may turn.
With the new federal law reauthorizing the transportation money comes due in October of this year, so yeah, no one's really sure of what's gonna happen in the future on any of this, so it's a little irritating. This timing stinks for us anyway.
Words of it, and that is correct, sir.
That's correct, sir. State highways, IDOT's got some projects in our area. We do not know what their dollar amount is for our urbanized area and for our county. They've given us 4 projects for ERA so far. 2 of them are milling and resurfacing projects, which would seem to be exactly the same as resurfacing projects inside the urbanized area. Who knows what's going on? One of them is Illinois Route 17 from Lyle Road to Illinois Route 1, it's $1.7 million. The other one's Illinois Route 15 from Irwin to Kerner Airport, that's $1.5 million. There are 2 other projects they've given us, guardrail replacement in the urbanized area, $60,000, mostly on the interstate, quite frankly, and pavement marking on the interstate in the urbanized area for $30,000. Armour Road from US Route 45 to Route 50 is rumored, it's on the April 24th levy, we don't know what the fund source is. Rumored to be an IDOT era project, but we can't confirm that right now. It may be straight state money for all we know. That they've been able to free some state money up because of all the other projects they're building with era funding. This is an editorial comment, you don't have to pass it on to anybody if you don't want to. We're rushing to find projects. This is not the best way for us to do business. We like thinking about things years in the future, planning them out, and we're not doing that right now. We're trying to find ways to spend the money in all kinds of strange ways.
You're backing into $1 rather than.
Backing a
specific
project
projects.
into $1. It's,
Crazy.
yeah, I'm not comfortable with what we're doing right now, but that's where we're at.
How much money does Bourbonnais have to build? They have nothing, they have part of the 1.9.
Burns Road was going to be a $4 million project, and they were gonna get 80%, so they were gonna have to kick in $800,000 of their own money to build it under the previous rules. So we take the $800,000 as a given, which I'm not sure you can. That leaves $1 million plus that they would have to find another funding source. And they're talking about bonding, and hopefully they'll have that answer between now and next Tuesday. We'll see. Ralph?
Mike, where does Burns Road go eventually? Just, or what does it serve, just that,
Between
That's
between
good.
Career Center and Route 45.
in most of the subdivision probably?
What it does is, we don't have a grid pattern in Bourbonnais at all. And it puts one of the rungs in the grid pattern that makes, if you wanna go 45 and you wanna go west part of Bourbonnais, you've got another way to get over there, rather than going all the way down to 102. And,
You're going west out of 45.
Yes.
Yeah.
Into Career
yeah, the
Center.
east part's already there, but it doesn't go over the interstate. It just serves a residential neighborhood.
It goes there, I've used that one.
Goes to Burns Farm, doesn't it? That's about it.
Well, and it's not a very good road. Once you get past the subdivisions, it's 4 miles an hour.
If anybody's got engineering done for a project that's exactly $2,100,000, I would like to know about it. If you've got it sitting in your pocket someplace, that would be nice.
Bridge over the river at Merlin's.
What would have been perfect if Cardinal Drive was exactly $2 million. $2 million. If we'd seen this coming, what would've been perfect is to pull Cardinal Drive off the letting and use it for this project. But we didn't know that we were gonna get $2 million at the time, and we thought it was better to go ahead and get, we thought a bird in the hand was better than something we didn't know about in the future.
Always is.
You know, you never know. That's where we're at. We will, there are some deadlines that you should be aware of. March the 25th is the deadline for submission of the project. We've got a technical advisory committee meeting on March 17th. We've got another technical advisory meeting on the 25th. And we've got a policy meeting on the 25th. We should know by March the 25th what we're going to do. It may not be a great answer, but we should know. Any other questions? Thanks.
Back to Mr. Skimmerhorn.
Wind farms. Tuesday's county board meeting, the board approved the special use permit for the K4 wind farm. We expect we'll probably be seeing building permits by midsummer.
Have they found a route from the last turbine to the grid?
Have they told you that?
They haven't told me about it.
Okay.
I know where the grid ends, it ends at the substation.
Me too, and I know where the last turbine is.
Kensington.
And we've had conversations with several farmers who either haven't allowed it to cross or haven't been asked to allow it to cross.
Okay.
Was the hearing positive as far as?
Yeah, the hearing we had out in Herscher, 150 plus people, only 2 people got up and commented, and they were from other counties that this firm has worked in, and they were positive comments.
No objection.
Absolutely no objection whatsoever, all the way through the process.
It's learning to find out.
Delbert, is there any difficulty with the tax rate they were figuring on for each tower?
No, that's,
I read some figures that supposedly they raised their estimates quite a bit.
there's a formula that the state legislators created that governs all of that. There's a little bit of fluctuation because of local tax rates, but anywhere in the state, pretty much they pay the same amount per tower. The problem is that legislation ends in 2011. We have no idea what the state's gonna do at that time. They can continue it, they can make them tax exempt, there's some issues there.
According to Mike Bosser, in his recent conversation with the legislators, that's not going to be a problem. They are going to re-up it and continue. He just told us at this moment.
There's a reason to go to the meeting, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Cool. There are 2 townships that were involved in. Pilot's one, Otto's the other. How many wind towers are in Pilot and how many in Otto?
I have no idea, but 88 total.
Okay.
There's 41 in
It's
Pilot.
split pretty close.
And 46 in, 41 in Ottawa and 46 in Pilot.
All south of 115.
Yes.
I think there's only one north of 5,000.
They're all on the last 2 miles.
I was thinking there was one that snuck out just north of 6,000 South Road on Rosenberg's farm.
It's all done to take advantage of that bridge, that high bridge that runs through that.
All 4 together.
Yep.
Is that the name?
Yep. Okay, any other questions for Delbert? Project updates.
I'd love to tell you that in the last month I spent all of my time on the long-range transportation plan, but I spent an awful lot of time on the economic stimulus package, and we have to get back into the long-range transportation plan pretty seriously.
First, you gotta figure out where to spend the $2 million before you can do much long-range planning and
That's true.
transportation. You
Yeah.
gotta decide what you've already got.
Okay.
Long-range planning has been put on hold apparently, so we can do short-term planning.
Okay. My favorite subject, discussion of zoning reduction project, Mr. Skimmerhorn.
Yeah, the last, was it executive, or full RPC meeting, I think we handed out zoning maps to all of you. Staff has done absolutely nothing additional. But, if anybody has anything they want to discuss reviewing those maps, that would be great. My time's been taken up with trails and wind farms right now, so within a few months, hopefully we'll get back on it is our goal to do something with that by the end of the year.
Delbert, what I've noticed lately, it seems like these guys get these 5-acre tracts, an old farm yard or whatever, pretty soon it's a dump. Somebody,
If you have an issue with that, Mr. Carberg, I think this discussion you ought to have is with farm organizations that have heavy lobbying efforts in Springfield, and get them to get rid of the Illinois Plat Act.
Yeah, there's an agricultural section of the zoning act too that,
But we can't
kind
restrict.
of ties our hands on.
Right, but those, you know, I think we all agree that 5-acre tracts are horrible, but the county's hands are tied. Fortunately, you can't do a new one on 5 acres and build a house without going through a rezoning process. The issue is how many of those got created long ago by, I would suggest, not farmers, but landowners who wanted to strip off the fronts of their property to make money. I don't think any self-respecting farmer ever sells any of his ground. So it isn't farmers, but there is that private property group that gets down to Springfield and says, no, you can't restrict any of that. I gotta be able to sell what I wanna sell. And the Plat Act says you can buy it on 5 acres.
but then the guy buys it, and pretty soon it's all kinds of junk around.
Can't build on it right now.
Okay? But an existing old farm place.
It's possible, it depends, it gets more complicated than that, there's
I know.
homestead exemptions, there's various things that allow them to do that.
I know 2 of them right now, not too far from us. A horrible mess.
You
Clearly,
should
the
probably turn them
county's
in.
Yeah, I mean,
plan is to push houses to places where services can be provided. That's the county's goal. It's not always received that way by people who own land out in the country and see the ability to make a fast buck by selling property, some of which is not so buildable. I can show you some underwater tracts in the county.
sometimes by necessity these days, we're getting a lot of requests for that sort of thing, just so they can make some income.
Yeah.
And we're turning them down when we
But
can.
the health department is the place to call if it's become a public nuisance.
Well, it depends, it could be our code
It
enforcement.
could be this.
It's
Yeah,
junk.
we kind of recognized the drinking problem years ago. We had, over time, many cases in the courts to force people to clean up their junk property because of the 5-acre thing. I don't see us backing off of that at all. With the assistance of the way we've rewritten our plan, not permitting them to build on 5 acres without going through rezoning. It has helped some, but it hasn't helped, hadn't really completely resolved the problem.
There's one 4 or 5 acre plot out there that was sold off of a farm, you know, just the 5 acres. Somebody bought it, let it go downhill, and eventually the house burned down, and somebody called the fire departments, 10 of them. They got, now that half of the houses are burnt.
It's just sitting
There
there.
it sits.
Yeah.
Worse mess than it was before.
Get us an address on it, we'll send people out.
But the owner doesn't have any money.
You know, and I think often when we look at 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 acre lots, whether they're farmers or just people in the country, lots of us think that sometimes they look pretty junky. You know, that's sort of a definition. You know, how many pieces of equipment can you stick behind the barn before somebody says you got a junky looking farmstead? I mean, that's a pretty slippery slope you get on deciding what's in the public interest to allow on your property. I'm sure you don't have any old vehicles or old grain legs or anything stuck behind a barn anywhere on
Not much, tell you the truth.
Not much. I think that would be a yes.
You don't see it riding down the road, eh?
Oh, okay, so it's okay if I don't see it? Then I can-
There's the iron side.
I envision a jumped up 5 acres as property that's, area visible from the road, overgrown 3 to 4 feet of weeds and then things showing through those weeds. That's what I see.
If it's junk cars, if it's tall weeds and things like that, we can do something about it. If it's old farm equipment, that's kind of touchy.
I know one guy's got his current line of farm equipment out in the front yard. Year round.
There's nothing wrong with that, actually.
You can't build a garage out there, but you can put your farm equipment out.
You can't put a roof over it, but you could put it out
That's
there.
right.
There you go.
They can probably put a pole barn pretty quick. Oh, not from the house.
Not in front of that.
Although we have to-
Well, actually, well, that's not true.
You get a variance.
Yeah.
No, you don't even need that.
That's part of that
It's a farm
agricultural
system.
exemption I was
Oh, okay.
telling you about. We don't like it, but.
Yeah, I think, Ralph, I think we all agree that the rampant division of the larger than acreage that you need just presents problems down the road that nobody needs an acre to live on, let alone 5 acres. It's just,
So ultimately, they won't maintain it.
they don't have any idea, you know.
You can't force people to keep things cleaned up.
You can't legislate common
He's
sense.
got less
Or
of it.
morality.
You know, he says, I'm restoring a prairie, and boy, now you know you're gonna have 6 and 8 foot grass growing in the front yard, and boy, that's pretty tough to do, so. But Delbert offered if you get addresses, I think the code enforcement and I think the health department is willing to go out. But again, it ends up going into court, it's not a,
It can be a long, drawn-out process. If they cooperate, it's easy. If they don't,
If they got money, it's easy.
it can, yeah, it could take months, sometimes years to.
But tell us about it.
for Mike and Delbert who created it, I really would like to see the discussion of the zoning ordinance go up higher, the zoning reduction budget. I think,
We'll be removing wind farms probably.
Yeah.
There's not much more, but
okay, okay, well, I think that's the place to.
like I said, for the next couple of months, you're gonna get the same report you just got today.
Okay.
Yeah, till we catch up.
Well, we don't have another meeting till May, so yeah.
We got
I wouldn't
April
guarantee
16.
anything.
Pardon me?
We got an April 16th. thing.
Next scheduled meeting, May 14th, 2009. I'm
Cancel
to
that
the
meeting
reading your,
Oh, you got me on that.
so, okay. Joint land management resource plan adoptions, we're still,
I have no new information on that either.
ooh, this is going quickly.
Yes.
I'm liking it.
We would like to say that we've made 3 presentations now to the Village of Bourbon, and they still haven't adopted.
Emily's pretty much given up on
And that's because you
Didn't
can't.
they adopt, I thought it was in a board meeting when they adopted.
that. We adopted theirs, they never adopted ours.
You've never gotten it out of
Committee.
Hayes committee.
The planning commission, yeah.
That's a true statement.
It's not the only thing we've had a problem.
And that's gonna have to change somehow.
Be like Berlin
So
Berlin.
much Frank leaves, everything just falls.
Well, I mean, this, staff is behind it
And the council appears to be.
and
behind it.
actually recommended it to the, commission. It just doesn't go anywhere after,
Sort of refuse to admit that there's an issue.
so.
So short of going into public comment in front of the full village board,
I don't know what else.
Which doesn't seem to do us much good, quite frankly.
well, but you haven't been in front of the full village board, you've just been in
Right.
front of the planning commission.
The village board won't hear it unless the planning commission sends it forward, so. You're right, public comment would be about the only way you could voice something there.
None of us are brave enough to do that.
Yeah, we don't really put that kind of.
Well, but they put theirs at the end of the meeting, so you can have a lengthy wait before you get to talk, and they don't always stay around. Okay. Traffic carriage reporting.
I'd love to tell you that we've spent a lot of time on this in the recent past too, but we haven't. We turned it over to the highway department and the GIS department to do some work on that, and we've got a fundamental disagreement on where we're headed, I guess, with this project with the highway department that we need to resolve somehow. We'll take care of it.
The highway department doesn't think it's important, or?
I don't think I can answer that question. They think that there's some privacy issues in release of information that I'm not sure that I have the same viewpoint they do. We'll work on it.
So are we asking the state's attorney or state's attorney's staff to reach a conclusion? Or are we gonna have engineers battling on privacy and legal issues?
No one wants to ask the state's.
Well, I
Yeah,
understand,
I don't
but,
think that solves anything.
you know, I don't know how you convince somebody if they think it's a privacy issue and they're not going forward, and somebody says it's not a privacy issue, neither one of you are a lawyer. You know, I think you're at loggerheads and we're not gonna go forward with that project.
We're going forward with the project. We'll figure a way out around it. It's something I hadn't, it didn't occur to me when we started this project, we'd have this problem whenever we get to this stage.
Even though we redacted all the names and,
Yeah.
so they think just listing that there was an accident at Larry Power Road and Route 45 on June the 15th is somebody's privacy issue, or?
They think that giving the village of Bradley information on an accident on St. George Road, which is a county road, is a privacy issue. I'm fuzzy on that.
You're not talking about person specific, you're talking about just a general accident, right?
Yeah,
Location only,
Yeah.
that's, I agree with Rich, what's wrong with that?
I can't tell you.
May become irrelevant if the municipals, the police departments, agencies get to the point where they just say, okay, it's private, you get your own for your own department, but our department's gonna give you our information too. So if they share it with each other, it's problem solved.
If there are intergovernmental agreements between each of the agencies that will share information back and forth, I don't think it's an issue. I hope to avoid
Signing agreements.
going through that. I hope to offer them something that was valuable enough that they're willing to give us the information. We'll get there.
Well, I think they probably do it. I'm sorry to hear the highway department is throwing out roadblocks. Are you asking information from the highway department?
No, didn't, well,
Why is the highway department in this?
because they're the GIS arm on this one.
Well, it's not the GIS department.
No, it's the GIS person in the highway department. We'll work it out. It's just irritating that we've got, 2 years of this thing, and that roadblock I hadn't even worried about beforehand is now there.
Well, yeah, I can understand that. People start to make roadblocks. Okay. Well, I'm gonna join the crowd. February, March are the busiest months I have. I've not done anything on leasing.
So the project updates are pretty much
Easy today. Moving into other business,
Quite either.
new or otherwise. We talked about County Highway 9. Spruce Street is the first road west of the interstate, is that right?
In Mantino?
Yeah. So the project is from Spruce to 4552. Have I read that right every time?
Well, you're probably right, because until eventually you hit the interchange.
Well, but
Which
we're
is
back
a
to these
different project.
80,000 pound roads we're gonna build, except for the last 200 yards to the interstate.
Unless it has to, well, I don't know that answer.
The interstate project, the rehabilitation of the interstate was supposed to be another project
Okay.
that would take care of that when the time came.
There'd be a widening at the interstate, but there's some, it may be.
I'm not so much widening, it's just the 80,000 pound load limit. Now we got them really close if you're coming from Will County or Western Kankakee County, that your 80,000 pound truck can get
Almost.
to Spruce Street.
Throw a
But
baseball.
at
I don't
what
think
point-
the touchdown is too far past.
Whatever the jurisdiction at the interchange is, you'd have to get to that point, I would think.
Well,
You know.
yeah, but, I think the long-term goal is to have that road be 80,000 pounds.
Sure.
But now what, you've been teasing people that you can come down 45, that's an 80,000 pound road, and we're trying to get them to the interstate as quick as possible. And we couldn't do a little more repavement to get us to
Well,
the
it was
interstate?
my understanding that they would completely curb and gutter all of County Highway 9 up to and including the intersection, and then after that, do the tapering down to the touchdown point of the interstate, which would accommodate the truck traffic. And it certainly isn't any good if you can't access that 200 feet.
When the interchange project comes, then it connects.
Then it would
Right.
connect.
Yeah.
Are they
So-
likely to
so-
be at the same time? No.
But they don't want to curb and gutter
Great to do it this way.
the
Bridge.
transition point.
Right.
So I fully expect that they would taper it down and make it drivable for the trucks, otherwise it wouldn't be any good to, you couldn't go past the Spruce Street
drivable,
exit.
yeah.
Well, I just haven't seen anywhere that they're going to improve that 200 feet to the 80,000 pound
Yeah, it's been a
load
long time
limit.
since I've seen the plans, but I'm certain that that's gonna be taken into consideration. I know there was a taper on it because
Okay.
there was concern about how would you transition from a new, bi-directional turn lane, 4-lane road down to this old interstate overpass. And that was taken into consideration, I'm sure, when they did the drawings. I remember there being a taper and conversation about the taper, and some of our existing roads in the community that just drive off into a ditch. And, from developments and so forth, and how would we make that transition?
Okay, so we're getting closer because we're gonna be east of Spruce in this improvement, just because they have to taper back
Yeah,
to.
that was my understanding from the last I'd seen it, it's been some
Craig.
time.
It's been a while.
From the interchange into town to 50?
East of there,
Yeah, that'd be the same.
there's no work involved in that. That's always gonna be a dilemma.
Is that 80,000 yet or not?
Let me see. She
I
must
don't
have
know.
announced. No.
I think, I think the 80,000 pound trucks have to get off at Peton, come down 45. And I think that's 10,000 North Road, though that's not what Mantino calls it, and then
Sneaking east from there.
past Dave Peters' house down to the spot.
That is 10,000 or 80,000.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
but not,
Going through town is not, and I don't think anybody envisions it being.
or wants it to be.
I
Right.
haven't seen
They
it.
don't want
No, don't wanna encourage 80,000-ton trucks going through the
That would be
middle of
bad.
Mantino. We're just trying to get them to the darn state.
Although, why
What
should
about
they be
the
different
farmer's
than others?
outlet there though, you know, that's a delivery point that,
That's gonna be a problem forever.
You're in town no matter what.
to go out, get around, back there.
Well, that's inside the half mile that they've got leeway to go to. It'll tear it up though.
Off 50,
Yeah.
because 50's an 80,000-ton road.
You
Although
have
it doesn't-
50, and then they come in over the overpass and go down section line to Walnut, and they go over that way, so they stay on the route.
Sure.
And that takes it to the use, and they
They
just
should
keep
stay
it
on
up.
their route.
They do, they're very good at it. We're
Oh,
talking about Mantino farmers here, we're not talking about,
Only a month, only 1 month a year, right?
they know what's going on, they're efficient, they know what's happening.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other business to come before this august body? Let's see, we're back here on May 14th.
And we're downtown on June the 2nd, or June the 4th. Just for you.
Thank you.
I will not be here for the July 23rd meeting, wherever it is. We can move that in either direction, but
Okay.
I will be out of town on the 23rd.
You already know
If there's no
your
new topics to
It's the
discuss.
fourth
do we do-
Thursday of July.
at that point?
I'm always out of town.
This is a slow year, folks.
Hmm?
It's a slow year, we may not need that many.
Yeah,
Well, we had this many meetings because of the Greenwoods and Trails things more than anything else.
I would suggest that we can go from June 4th to August 20th without huge issues. So the chair would entertain a motion to change our schedule with that, if that's agreeable to the committee. So moved by Mr. Watson, do I have a second by
Second.
young Mr. Blanchett? Blanchett the younger.
They go Roman on it.
All in favor of the alteration of the schedule to delete the July 23rd meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
I'm guessing it's unanimous. Okay.
Anything else we'd like to discuss? Any other issues prevailing in the county?
Hopefully.
George has been to 3 meetings already this morning.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty bad.
What time was your first?
7:30.
He was
Got
there
to sleep
early
in,
too.
huh?
He was the first one in the room, I think.
First or second.
What was the 7:30 meeting, Mr. Washington?
We relaxed. You know,
And then something with the county board chairman.
highway.
I would.
George, before we exit here, the community development meets tomorrow. We have been struggling for a
Quorum?
quorum forever. We have a lot of people that, I can't remember how many on the list, maybe 9, 10 or something. We have to have a quorum of 5. A lot of people just haven't been there. So is there a way to reduce our size or something so that we can at least have quorums?
I'm gonna reduce it because I'm gonna resign.
Do you want to?
I'm resigning from the.
Oh, you?
county.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be,
But you still need 5 out of 8, you need to get one more to get down to.
yeah.
Who else on that committee, Joe?
Well, I'll just read, let's see if I have it here. Well, Bud, you were there for a while, and then,
Yep.
that's, Craig Basin does come typically, Burville comes. Let's see, Bill, you haven't been to many meetings on the community development, I think you've been listed. Lisa Dugan, yeah, and that's okay. And I'm not looking for resignations, but it'll help get quorums, you know.
Yeah.
Still invited, everybody's invited. But Bill, that's your call, and Lisa Dugan has not been to any.
I think you can take Lisa off those.
Myself,
Take Lisa off, you're
Dick
down to
Sims,
7.
Dick Sims has been on it, he's never been, and you're listed.
How about Elizabeth Dunbar?
And now we have added, she's on now, and she's just joined, so she'll come. But I guess it's just, want to clean up that way, at least we can take some.
Well, we know the email system works, perhaps staff should send an email out suggesting that people need to formally re-up on committees.
Sure.
Please tell us the committees you want
That
to
you're
be
on.
on.
Sure.
And then we'll go from there, that way,
Tell us the ones you're gonna show up at the meeting.
no, I mean, if they wanna be on it, then we gotta deal with the quorum question, but,
Mhm.
you know, if you don't get a response from people, then they aren't on those
I want to
committees.
list the committees and have them say yes or no.
But, yeah, they have to reply yes to be on the committee, I think that you have to make them actively respond to it. an email.
Okay. Do you wanna stay on, or do you wanna come off? Yes.
And that normally meets at what time?
Well, we've been trying to find dates that work. Tomorrow at 11.
Fridays are always
Tomorrow at
a bad
11.
day for me at
Yeah.
work, and Thursday's always my day off, but today I've got my dad in the hospital with a broken hip, and that's why I'm late today, so.
Are you-
Should have called, you made it for the adjournment.
Yeah, it's been just run. And, but, normally I would have made it today, but, anyway, that one, community development, I'm very definitely interested in.
Okay, so you'd like to come?
Most certain I do, but the
Okay.
time is a
Well,
bad
we need to hear
time, and I was
what
always
times are
regretful of that.
good then, okay.
Yeah. Thursdays, anytime are always good for me.
Thursdays are okay.
Yeah. Except 9:30, Thursday morning. Well.
Well, we only
when
meet
I don't
once
have-
every other month. You
well,
find a
when I
lot
don't
of
have
Thursdays
somebody-
that fit
When I
into.
don't have somebody in the
we can do
hospital, I
that.
can do it any time on Thursday. No, boy, I'm telling you.
As far as leave, is it safe to take Lisa off?
Yeah, I
Officially?
mean, she can add herself back into it if she wants to.
Okay. So that's, at least we'll have, tomorrow maybe we'll have.
Somebody
four,
hit the minute.
which would be nice. That'd be good.
I understand.
Yeah, actually, we're going to fourth floor, I think, was scheduled this week.
That's the only
Yeah.
room available
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah, we'll go to fourth floor. That'd be great. And we'll get through a few issues and that'd be great. Okay, thanks.
Tomorrow at 4?
Yeah, no, 11 o'clock on 4.
On the fourth floor.
But, we'll stick to this month and we'll talk and see whatever dates might work, so.
That was a cheap shot.
Seeing and hearing no more business, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Bates, second by Blanchette the Younger. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. I would thank Ms. Marcotte for taping us. That